Today's episode of Life's Potluck Buffet is live from the Olde Life's Potluck Buffet shop, as you see on the thumbnail. And did I say the Olde Life's Potluck? What, isn't it ye Olde? Find out today. I'm John Paulus. Thanks for joining me. All right, the reason I said the Olde Life's Potluck Buffet shop is that the symbol that looks like a Y there, well, it is the letter Y. But when there's this kind of anachronistic nostalgia. I was reading something about it. Anachronistic kitsch, I guess, is the kind of term that people think about it as. And you have a shop that's got the E at the end of old and the two P's and an E at the end of shop. That first, and ye, and starts with ye or ye. Ye. The Y, that wasn't originally a Y. That was originally a TH. Was a letter that used to exist in the English alphabet called a thorn. And the letter looked a little bit like a P or a backwards P or a part of a Q. It had that kind of look. I'd say like a backwards P is a good description of it. When typesetting started happening and things got printed and we're supposed to have a thorn at the beginning, like the article, definite article, like a TH, the character that was used by the early printers was a thing that was a Y. It looked like a Y. So there's a whole history of this where that letter existed in the character set of English letters, along with the letter Ev, which is a D with a slash through it. Remember I was talking about the L with the slash through it the other day. So I've been thinking a lot about letters with slashes through them these last couple of weeks. So that letter is another one that went by the wayside. But the thorn still remains with us, but we don't realize it because we see it as a Y, but what that Y is representing is a TH. And in English spelling, over the years that when that letter disappeared and it was replaced by TH, and TH won out. And so that's why we don't have that letter in the English language anymore. But if you really want to impress your friends and you see an anachronistic kitsch situation where it says ye olde shoppy, then you can say, hey, that Y is really represents a thorn, and that's actually the old shop. And the E's at the end too are holdovers from distant past. In Old English, for example, the word in Old English for a booth, or what we would call today a shop, is shoppa, which I think in Old English was spelled SCOPPA, and so that's the E at the end there is representing that old, the word that eventually it just came to be pronounced shop, like we pronounce it today. But the letter was, the letter hung on there for a while. And the same with old, that again, the adjective old, if you look at, say, for example, Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales, that's Middle English, you'll see that if you look at the original, not a translation into modern English, but if you look at the original in Middle English, you'll see that the old has an E at the end, olde, and so that's what's going on there. Which also reminds me, here's a question for you: name an adjective in English that has masculine and feminine endings. There's only one that I could think of. If you could think of more, that would be really cool, and you should write it down. But what, and you'll see why this came to mind when I tell you. Have you thought of it? It's blonde. because we follow the French language in our use of the word blonde, and in French, the blonde with the D ending is masculine, and for feminine, it's a blonde with an E. And you still see that in English today, in when people are being careful about it or being pedantic about it and sticklers for old spelling. So that, you'll see he is blonde, BLOND, and she is blonde, BLONDE, because that's the feminine ending. But really, I think that, my personal opinion, saying that this is a matter of being careful or not careful is, not really true. It's just being a stickler for something that's way older. And the old curiosity shop thing, the ye old thing, that is also an example of what the Japanese call, I think it's mojibaka. And that has to do when characters get replaced by other characters. And it happens a lot we see it a lot on the internet or in computers or in files, digital files. It very rarely happens in anything but digital files today. But since we operate in digital files all the time, we see it pretty frequently. It's like when there's that diamond-shaped thing with a question mark in it, or a thing is supposed to be let's say a C with a little hook on the bottom, Sadia, and it gets replaced by like the @ sign or something, those kinds of things where there is a character set that doesn't align with another character set, which is not a problem in Unicode, for the most part, because they're Unicode characters for just about everything. Although I have to tell you, okay, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So let's draw a card for today and see what the cards have to say about all of this. All right, I'm going to shuffle the deck 3 times, casually. All right, and then I'm going to do 1 grand shuffle. That was pretty awesome yesterday that we got cards 13 and 19 finally at the same time, when I had asked a few days before that the cards produce card 13 and 19 for us. So I really appreciate it. So the cards are in top form, I have to say, or maybe I'm in top form. I don't know. I don't know who. I know it's the cards. Yeah, it's probably the cards. It's got to be the cards. All right. So here's our card for today. Oh, it's card 52. When it comes to life, we are all Dali. This is Life's Potluck Buffet rule number 2. And what it means is that in our lives, there really are no rules. And that's how Dali lived life. And that was on full display in January of 1957 when Salvador Dali appeared on What's My Line, a game show about what people's jobs were, what their occupations were. Well, what is Salvador Dali's occupation? Well, for the show, it was artist. That's, his line of work. But for Salvador Dali, the life was his line of work. And so when the panelist asked, do you make drawings like comic strips? Are you a writer? Are you an athlete? He answered yes, and he meant it. And what Life's Potluck Buffet says is we are all Dali in the richness of our lives. And understanding how we are all Dali, and in every way, in this respect, is liberating.